What's good, everybody? This your boy Blackout Jones with Just Shooting the Sports. I'm going to do a little breakdown from the beginning of the Nico saga here at the University of Tennessee from 2022 until now. That and a whole lot more. Let's go. As you know, yesterday I was in Atlanta, Georgia, at an event. So, at that point I wanted to kind of drop a little snippet of how I felt about the whole Nico situation with including Tennessee, Spire Sports, Josh Heupel, players, and everyone else that was involved in this situation. I wanted to kind of begin from the beginning, the Nico timeline from 2022 until now. So, as we all know, Nico was a five-star player coming out of high school out of California at the time. He was at one point the top prospect in 2022, in front of Arch Manning at the time, but then somehow it flip-flopped like it always does when, someone, commits to the University of Tennessee, but that's nor here nor there. Well, anyway, Nico was pretty much like the first person that got, $8 million per year contract, really just in the millions, period. And with that $8 million contract, he was getting paid around anywhere from 2.2 to 2.4 million a year. And then at that point, in around 2023, 2024, of course, the NCAA was trying to come after us again in regards to that deal that occurred. Now, I've heard from other, sports podcast places or whatnot talking about, I heard one last night, I'm not even going to say their name, but they were talking about how, there was a booster that sent out a private plane to pick up Nico and his family and, to fly back out to Tennessee. And what he don't realize is, and what I've heard, it wasn't even a booster. It was Spire Sports themselves. On top of that, he was still in high school. Okay, whatever. But the deal was signed with Spire Sports. It was not the deal was not signed with any boosters of Tennessee. So those are two totally different things. If Spire Sports is the collective, then that's what they are. They are the collective, not necessarily the booster. As far as what I've done my research on. So with that being said, there was no recruiting violations taking place during that time. Anyway, we ended up, University of Tennessee fought back against the NCAA, and of course everybody knows that we won that decision. So we had Nico's back, during that time, and boom, Nico starts the new year as the starting quarterback. All right, then we get here, spring of 2025. Nico is renegotiating an NIL deal. Well, the negotiations definitely fell through. And as of Saturday morning, right before the orange and white spring game, he was dismissed from the team indefinitely. No longer part of the UT football program, the university as a whole. Now, I've gotten that out the way. Now, this is my take on it. If y'all recall, back in December, after we lost to Ohio State, you remember there were little breadcrumbs that were being put out on Twitter, not only by Nico, by Nico. I don't know if y'all remember, but I remember him putting out a kind of a screenshot, and trying to figure out, what's going on. So we was all trying to figure out what's going on, And remember, his dad came out and said, "Oh, everything is cool, everything is great. You have nothing to worry about. He's a volunteer." Well, fast forward. That was pretty much a precursor to what occurred this past Friday and definitely yesterday. That he probably was thinking about leaving back then as well, because at this point we don't believe his dad. We don't believe anyone that represents Nico Iamaleava, and but may possibly Nico himself. Now, I'm not trying to put any blame on Nico, because Nico is still 19, 20 years old. And in most cases, family over everything. You're going to listen to your pops. And if your pops and whomever else that's in your camp is giving you this advice, 9 times out of 10, you're going to follow it, which I truly believe it was bad advice. Understand something. I knew someone personally that played with the University of Tennessee, that played for the University of Tennessee. And he was recruited by Jeremy Pruitt. And then Jeremy Pruitt, we all know what happened with that. And Josh Heupel came in and he was still on the team. Well, I remember the next year after that, I didn't see him, in the highlights. I didn't see him on the sidelines. The person that I know personally, as far as his parent, I didn't see that individual, posting pictures, being at the games, wearing, Tennessee gear, things of that nature. So, I kind of felt like something was going on. Well, I spoke to the parent at the time, and basically that parent, that the dad of the player felt like he should transfer and go somewhere else to get playing time because he felt like he wasn't going to get no playing time. Well, first off, you don't know what may happen. Running backs get injured. He could have been next man up. Who knows? As you can see at the University of Tennessee, running backs are in rotation every time. Dylan Sampson last year, hey, even though he was the star back, other backs got shine too. Year before that, we had I can't think of his name. Played for the Miami Dolphins. Sorry if I can't remember, and I should know better than that. Jalen, I can't remember, but anyway. Dylan Sampson, we still had running back by committee. This is what this offense is. It's running back by committee, but you will have that number one back. Well, anyway, he transfers, goes to another school that I'm not going to speak on, and next thing you know, he's not even playing there. And next thing you know, the grades are failing, and now you pretty much ruined him. Because I truly believe he didn't want to, leave the University of Tennessee, but as a kid, listening to his father, who he thinks has his best interests, you ruined him. And I'm not going to say, I'm not trying to say this is going to happen for Nico, at any point, but it possibly can. Also, the thing that bothered me was, this thing that you felt like you needed $4 million, well, you didn't play like it was $4 million. Let's be clear. First 3 games, you played pretty good. After that, I don't know what happened. Went downhill. And I mean all the way downhill. Let's understand something. Dylan Sampson and the defense took us to the college football playoffs, not Nico. Nico may have had some plays here and there, but you didn't put the team on your back and, and led the way. Defense, running game, led that team to a college football playoff. Don't get it twisted. Don't think because Carson Beck out here getting $5 million to play for the Miami Hurricanes, you feel like you should be getting more. Reason why I say you shouldn't, and the reason why I feel like Carson Beck is getting that money, understand something. Carson Beck is an SEC champion. Carson Beck is a national champion. Carson Beck almost led them back to the college football playoffs if they didn't lose to Alabama back in 2023. They won the SEC title last year, even though Beck got hurt and even though Beck wasn't at his best. The Georgia Bulldogs still won a SEC championship. I think he deserves $5 million for 1 year in Miami. Not someone that mediocre. I ain't gonna say you were mediocre, but you definitely underperformed. You know what I mean? So you can't sit here and be asking for $4 million and then just out of nowhere, you don't show up for practice. You don't let the coaching staff know. You don't even let your teammates know. Let alone the coaching staff, but your teammates, your brothers. You didn't let them know. Me, personally, if I was your teammate, good riddance. I wouldn't want a teammate like that to lead my team. Definitely at the quarterback position. I don't trust you, and I won't trust you. So it's good riddance that, that Tennessee, Josh Heupel, stood their ground and let that man know we're not doing this here. No one is bigger than the program, including the head coach. Now, you got some colleges out there, some college football programs where the coach think he is bigger than the program. But at Tennessee, we don't have that mindset. You play for that team on the side of your helmet. You play for that brand. You play for that program. You play for the coaches. Definitely play for your teammates. And you chose to be selfish. Maybe not your decision, but it's going to be it's going to be put on you, because at this point you're grown to the point where you could possibly make your own decisions. But as of right now, that wasn't the case. I know you was following what your dad, your family were telling you, and that's fine. But you're not going to do it here at the University of Tennessee. Then I hear reports that you were sniffing around, contacting Oregon to see if what can I get out there? And then according to some reports that I saw, Dan Lanning called Coach Heupel, was like, yeah, your boy out here sniffing around, trying to get deals. And if that is the case, if that is true, bad business. Not only for the present, but for the future. Because what teams are going to want to touch that? What teams are going to trust you and your representatives when if a negotiations even take place, that you even go to another team? And then while you're on that team, who's to say that you may not pull that stunt again? I hear on one end that you were happy to be at Tennessee. I hear on another end that you wasn't happy at Tennessee, and you haven't been happy at Tennessee. Don't really know which one is true. People can have lip service all day, and you can sit behind the mic and you can say all the things that sound good. But behind closed doors, all that you said out there in the front was not even true. That's possible. Let's be honest. Without the NIL deal, Nico wouldn't even be at Tennessee. Let's just be honest here. He wouldn't be at Tennessee. Wouldn't. There's a lot of players that probably wouldn't be where they at now because of NIL, if there wasn't no NIL. But it is what it is. Another thing, the fact that Tennessee had your back during the NCAA investigations, and this is what you do, big slap in the face. Big slap in the face. Backhand, forehand, elbow, everything. Respect out the window. And you know why I'm saying this? Because this is what people are saying about you as an individual. Even though you may have not made this decision, but you went along with this decision. This is what comes down on you when you follow your camp, when you follow what you feel your dad and whoever else was representing you. It's going to come on you, the player. Yeah, they're going to get on your dad because he sat there and bold-faced lied on Twitter. He probably bold-faced lied in December when he said, ain't nothing to worry about. And then you bold-faced lie again? You're a liar. You are a bona fide liar, my boy. Plain and simple. Don't make any sense that you blatantly lied and then want to try to get on Pete Stamkos from On 3, trying to get on his top. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to give my thoughts on that, man, because I was very disappointed in Nico Iamaleava. Very disappointed. I'm proud of Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteer Program for standing their ground, because if they didn't stand their ground, trust me, we live in a copycat society. As soon as the transfer portal would have opened, there would have been another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. It would have been a precedent that would have been set that would, on the verge of pretty much destroying college football as a whole. But the fact that Tennessee made the choice to stand down and say, you're not bigger than the program, you're out of here. Guess what else is going to happen in other programs? Unless you are that generational talented quarterback, wide receiver, DB, player as a whole, you're not getting any money. You're not getting paid at all. So understand something, kids that are coming from high school and going to college. It's one thing knowing your worth, but it's another thing on how you go about it. And this here is a pure example of what not to do in the future and for your career. So with that being said, this your boy Blackout Jones with Just Shooting the Sports. And as I always say when I talk about Tennessee football, excluding Nico Iamaleava, go Big Orange, Go Vols.